It is a beautiful day in the Kaz's neighborhood. Do you know why? I have the Funko Pop version of Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I grew up watching Mr. Rogers back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, and I was very excited when I saw this at my local FYE, so I had to get him. Mr. Rogers here is number 634, but this is, I think this is out because it is corresponding with a, well, I'm jumping ahead here. I want to see this, but out of the box, but I am sorry, I didn't show you the outside yet. So, here's the outside. Basically, here's Mr. Rogers. What I was about to say is that I believe this is corresponding with an independent film that is coming out on, a documentary that is coming out on Mr. Rogers, I guess his life, and it's the 50th anniversary of Mr. Rogers 2. So the movie, this, is all corresponding with Mr. Rogers' 50th anniversary. There he is there with the Daniel Tiger, original Daniel Tiger puppet. And, oh, that's funny, his, the background here is his sweater. Mr. Rogers had a sweater he would change into in every episode. But there's the full version, full view of it. But let's take it out of the box here. And if you look at him, I like this. I mean, I'm pretty much happy with all my pops, but this is really cute. I will say cute because it is. I don't see a disc here for him to stand on, so hopefully let's test out his footprint here right away. Let's test out his footprint, not too bad. He's just leaning towards the back here, kind of wants to fall over, but not bad. So, looks like he has the trolley, the neighborhood trolley, that comes out from behind his wall and goes into the neighborhood of make-believe. His head does move side to side. He has some nice accents there for his hair color. The gray on gray hair color there. Looks like on the top here and down the side. Nothing on the back as far as the accents. The solid gray color. He has his sneakers there that he changes into every episode. He's wearing a green cardigan sweater here. Nice detail on the seam there of his pants. He's got his got 5 fingers there. Not a cartoony version of him, but he has Mr. Rogers was a middle-aged man, so looks like they did put some little bags underneath his eyes there. But this is a pretty good rendering of Mr. Rogers. I really didn't see much as to distinguish him as being Mr. Rogers in this Funko Pop version. The main thing that distinguishes him is his hair. Here it looks like they did try to get that well translated into pop form. Other than that, this is a really cute pop. I got this, and I also got my son. I got my son the keychain version. There's a keychain version of Mr. Rogers here, again just like this, holding trolley. So let's take Mr. Rogers on a ride on Mr. Turntable. Okay, I guess I should give you my Mr. Rogers history here. I grew, like I've told you before, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s. So I watched Mr. Rogers on my local PBS in the Philadelphia area, WHYY. So Mr. Rogers was basically a good human being. He cared about children, he cared about their education, cared about what it was like for a child to grow up in the 60s. He formed his show on the local PBS in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, during the Vietnam era. He wanted basically to have a very positive TV show when there were images of the Vietnam War on TV. That's why he pretty much created the show, and he kept that positivity throughout the show's life. And it was really nice to watch him as a child. He was very positive. I think I watched him after Sesame Street and right before The Price is Right, every day before I went to kindergarten. So Mr. Rogers had a pretty big, not sure if I want to say impact, but a good influence on my life. Mr. Rogers had some good ethics for children back then to be happy with themselves, to accept themselves for who they were, and just to be good people. So, unfortunately, today there's not a lot of that on TV for kids. Everything is very bland. They're cute, but there's everything's very vanilla. Sesame Street seems to nowadays be more about the celebrity guest stars, not so much about teaching stuff as it was back in the 70s and 80s. But Mr. Rogers was a very nice addition to the TV line when I was growing up. I am very lucky to have watched Mr. Rogers back when I did. He was a great human being, just a good person, and he is being missed. His TV show should be on TV all the time, I think. I loved watching the little clips. I loved watching the one episode where they went to the set of the Incredible Hulk TV show and interviewed Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, and that was one of my favorite episodes, because I like behind-the-scenes sort of stuff, even way back when. On that note, I will have to say goodbye. Thank you for watching this episode of The Kaz. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye, neighbor.